In a documentary, there's a couple things I'll share with you guys on what I took away from it. But Rob, maybe share the clip on how he got access to some of the footage of the documentary. Is this the one, Rob?
Yep.
Go for it.
How did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figured most journalists would not disclose their sources.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day.
Perhaps.
Combs' team firing back in a statement to NBC News, saying the Netflix so-called documentary is a shameful hit piece and that they relied on stolen footage that was never authorized for release. His team sending a cease and desist to Netflix.
Bishop Jakes was at a Diddy party. There could only be two reasons.
In 50 Cent's new documentary, the silence speaks louder than any accusation. For years, names like Diddy and TD Jakes moved through separate worlds. Music, faith, influence, rarely questioned in the same breath. But when power operates across institutions, truth doesn't disappear, it waits. What remained hidden was not a single act, but a system that rewarded proximity, protected reputation, and taught everyone nearby that silence was safer than clarity. And when that silence finally cracks, the real question isn't what happened. It's how long it was allowed to continue.
Pulled me to himself, wrapped his arms around me and tried to kiss me. And in that moment, I literally died.
To many in the religious community, Bishop TD Jakes has been a spiritual advisor to presidents and a religious voice to thousands.
Because, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has prepared us for his departure for many decades. And many people, if you wrongly idol worship someone, you could have a void.
Real life. It ain't real life. Just real life street star. You know what time it is.
We just had a shake in not only the religious community, but our culture's community, to where Dallas, we have people like Kirk Franklin, Erykah Badu, of these names, and then you hear someone like Bishop Jakes, the Potter's House, that of course has risen Dallas to where you have these entities and these figures that, when you say the name, you kind of already know what it is. And we just recently seen that Bishop Jakes had stepped down. Now, I want to have this conversation because I have my own theories, no Diddy, but I have my own theories about why he would step down. But I do want to address the fact that he did step down. What is y'all take on it? And then also, where does it go from here? Dooney, if you don't mind, I can start with you because you actually have a personal relationship with Bishop Jakes. You've been calling him out for the past few years, damn near feel like a decade or so. You've been calling the man out, and now it seems like he didn't answer your phone call, and now he just stepped all the way down.
Yeah.
So
I don't blame him. I wouldn't answer the phone call.
This bitch don't start now. He asked me the question.
I know. I would answer your call. Come on, go ahead though.
Okay. Let me say this, man, to Bishop TD Jakes. You know what I'm saying? It was never any beef, anything like that. It was just some things that went on that I wanted to sit down and talk to you about that happened at the Mega Fest in Atlanta. And one of the ministers you had on staff. And because of where I came from, you know what I'm saying, it challenged my faith because of some things he did. So I just wanted to talk to you. I talked to Sean. Well, I didn't say no name, but your head security guard came to holler at me. And I sent the word out that I just wanted to speak with you. But your son came by. Shout out to my man, your son, Jermaine, he know what it is. And we talked and we discussed it. But I just want to say this to you, Bishop. You have shown a lot of thieves in Dallas. Ever since you came down, I had the honor of cutting your hair, meeting your First Lady, Jakes, Mama Jakes, Sarah, Cora. I just mentioned y'all named Jermaine, Jamar, Lil Dex. It was an honor meeting you all. And let me say to Mama Jakes, thank you for...
In 50 Cent's documentary, a prominent pulpit figure steps aside, and timing becomes the story. TD Jakes has spent decades cultivating certainty, measured language, institutional reach, proximity to civic power. A public transfer of leadership, then, reads as more than routine succession. In an era where reputations can fracture overnight, withdrawal often signals anticipation rather than rest. When leadership changes align with a separate high-profile legal storm intensifying around Diddy, the public instinctively connects dots before facts are finalized. If succession can be both spiritual and strategic, how do we tell where faith ends and risk management begins?
Happy birthday is tomorrow! His wife's birthday is tomorrow! Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Well, happy to have you back on the platform, man. It's been a while, man. I haven't had you on the platform in a long time, man.
Man, stop playing, man. I ain't never left, man. Shit. All I did was change clothes.
So I want to get right into it, man. How you feel about these rumors surrounding, Diddy and TD Jakes?
Man, what I think about it is this, when I grew up in the church, the sinners was not supposed to have the same atmosphere with the saints. You have to be able to separate the two. So I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin. Drinking, maybe fornication, man on man, woman on woman, he on she. But maybe he'd have to lay some hands on somebody. Maybe he'd have to save some souls. I know he got a contract with Revolt, so I'm just like, it's just real strange that he would be found at any kind of Diddy party or any kind of place with Diddy unless it's in a business atmosphere. So now what he's doing is he's making, man, he making the Christians look real bad right about now.
And you've been to these parties, right?
Oh, yeah. I was there when he was doing the white parties in the Hamptons and the whole 9 yards. So I know what goes on at the parties. If, they probably got a little bit more freakier, as time went on, because they got to the point whereas that they didn't even care. It used to be secretly, where people used to go to, separate rooms and different rooms, and they wasn't doing that out in the public, but now they don't care. Men kissing men and all this other stuff. That's just crazy.
So why do you think he was going to these parties?
I think that he's going to the Diddy parties, bruh. If he's going, well, we know he's going to the Diddy party, and I know that it's, I know what usually happens at the Diddy party, or when we told this happened at the Diddy parties. Maybe he need to see it for himself, man. Maybe he need to go there and really be involved in some things that could help save some individuals while they going to those parties. Or maybe he just going to...
A civil filing introduces a name, and culture rushes to judgment before the process does. In 50 Cent's documentary, the transcript reflects a familiar pattern. An allegation appears within a broader legal narrative, and proximity begins to function as proof. TD Jakes' influence has long been described as relational, advisor, connector, stabilizer. So the suggestion that credibility itself could be leveraged carries weight beyond the claim. Legal systems separate allegation from fact. Public memory rarely does. When judgment arrives early and lingers indefinitely, what role is left for due process to play?
Man, it's hard to even talk about why would you find a religious man, when you know that the saints supposed to separate themselves from the sinners, and why would a religious man like himself be at a party which ain't nothing but sin that's going on, bro? When it's drinking, maybe fornicating, maybe, like I said, men on men, women on women. It's hard to put in perspective unless he's involving himself what is actually going on at the parties. It's hard, brother. Bruh, you know, you can't, I really don't know why, as a spiritual advisor to him, that they buddy when he got a party with him like that and be at his parties. It's got to be, maybe it's something more that meets the eye. You know, I don't know. You know, I've had, you know, I've talked to preachers and I've talked to reverends and priests, but they ain't never came to a party with me or nothing like that. So it's hard to figure that one out, bruh, without even saying, you know, what people might be thinking. But I heard that there's supposed to be some tapes or something that's coming out real soon, and I guess we'll all really know the truth if anything's on those tapes.
From your point of view, right, when you look at TD Jakes, your point of view, your opinion, do you take him serious as a pastor?
Do I take him serious? That's not my type of pastor. You know, you got to look at a person's household, and if your household is not in order, you understand, how you going to help somebody else get their house in order? You know, one of his sons got arrested, you know, some years ago in Dallas, you know, allegedly for being found in a park where a bunch of people that are homosexuals hang out and indulge in sexual activity. And I heard his two sons, which are not his biological sons, both of them are from that LGBT community. Now, how you gonna help me straighten out my house, and to me, your house ain't in order? Not saying that something is wrong with them being and choosing that lifestyle, but something is wrong with them choosing that lifestyle, being in a household with a reverend.
The central issue in 50 Cent's documentary isn't what happened at a party, but what power can purchase afterward. The transcript repeatedly returns to a quiet idea, that moral authority can soften scandal, that money and legitimacy can circulate together, and that the right association can delay consequence. This isn't unique to Diddy or TD Jakes. It reflects a system where institutions unintentionally become filters for accountability. If reputation can be engineered like a campaign, what does responsibility look like when trust itself becomes the commodity?
Know that he was forcing her. Obviously, the government is presenting this as Diddy coercing her to stay in this relationship, to continue doing these freak-offs, even though she has said she didn't want to. But how much of that did she share with Diddy? Did he know that he was coercing her into this? Because that's what the whole sex trafficking charge is going to come down to. So one of the text messages after a hotel night that they had together, remember, hotel nights is what Jane refers to it. Cassie called them freak-offs, but these are their parties with male escorts. So after this one, this was in August of 2022, she wrote to him, "That was so much fun, baby. My love for you is unconditional and for life." She's referring to that particular freak-off that they had had. And she also talks about Paul. Paul is the guy that yesterday she said that their nickname for him was Shaq. She was Kobe and Diddy was Jordan, and they were the trifecta. So she is addressing the fact that she really enjoyed their encounters with Paul. But while Diddy's defense is trying to make it sound like, look, she was so into this. She loved having Paul. She asked for Paul. She wanted to clarify this. She said, if I had to do what I had to do, at least there was somebody who had a warm energy about them. So, yes, she is saying positive things and had positive feelings about Paul, but she's saying, I'm only doing this because this is, at least I have an option here. She would prefer to not have the hotel nights at all, but she felt like these were the circumstances of the terms and conditions, as she put it yesterday, of this relationship. She said, if I see him, Diddy, there is a request for a hotel night. So I'm just adapting to my circumstances. I'm adapting to my environment. So yes, there were moments when I suggest or organize these things under the pressures of my lover. Yes. I think that's the key thing there. She says, under the pressures of my lover. So she certainly feels pressured to do this. Does Diddy know that he's pressuring her? That is the.
A personal account enters the record, and its impact comes from power imbalance rather than detail. In 50 Cent's documentary, the narrative describes emotional access, mentorship, affirmation, closeness, followed by an alleged violation that reframes intimacy as leverage. Even as an allegation, the implication travels fast because it mirrors a broader pattern, authority converting vulnerability into compliance. Communities built on spiritual safety are destabilized not by accusation alone, but by the possibility that trust itself was weaponized. If faith leadership rests on moral clarity, how much ambiguity can it absorb before it breaks?
News out of Dallas. A megachurch founder and pastor, TD Jakes of the Potter's House. His ex-son-in-law claims that TD Jakes abused him. Richard Brandon Coleman is the ex-husband of TD Jakes' daughter, Cora Jakes. An attorney representing Coleman says that Coleman now claims, along with other unnamed males, they claim to have credible allegations against the Potter's House founder, TD Jakes, of grooming, assault, sexting, and transporting them across state lines. Richard Brandon Coleman, 36 years old, also known by his stage name, Ski Ventura, is serving time in a Texas prison for aggravated assault of a child and indecency with a child. Cora Jakes announced her divorce from Coleman in January 2022, shortly before his crimes became public, after they'd been married for about 10 years, and they have 2 adopted children. The attorney representing Coleman made this latest claim in a filing in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania last Friday. That is part of an ongoing defamation lawsuit that Jakes launched against former pastor Dwayne Youngblood and 10 John Does in November 2024. So there's a lot of legal mess, lawsuit, drama going on, along with these new.
A former prosecutor outlines the threshold where private claims become public concern. This moment matters in 50 Cent's documentary because it shifts the conversation from viral narrative to institutional standards. What can be investigated, charged, proven, or excluded? The transcript exposes a collision. Courts demand evidence while culture demands meaning. One moves slowly by design. The other accelerates without brakes. When legal truth and public belief operate on different clocks, which one ultimately defines the legacy of figures like Diddy?
About to turn into like a whole nother scene, like a lost scene from Eyes Wide Shut. Like, this is looking a little weird. I mean, if Bishop Jakes was at a Diddy party, there could only be 2 reasons. Money or...
Real life.
It ain't real life. Just ain't real. Real life street star. You know what time it is.
Why do you think TD Jakes was at Puff Daddy's birthday party?
You know, do you remember when Bernie Mac played the minister in Friday?
Yes.
That's how I feel about TD Jakes. Like, that's how I see. Oh, Miss Parker, come to play. But for him to be at a Diddy party, I don't know. Like, I feel the same way about that as I feel about when Tyler Perry came to his church and laid hands on him and he caught the Holy Spirit from Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry is the bishop of what? Like, I've never, like, and I cut a check for 100, and I'm gonna lay my hands on your bishop, and he said, and then the bishop said, it's on the fucking internet. He's doing all of this, right? And then there's a woman on the dais screaming, push the baby out, birth that baby, push the. I'm like, are we at church? Or is this about to turn into like a whole nother scene, like a lost scene from Eyes Wide Shut? Like, this shit is looking a little weird. I mean, if Bishop Jakes was at a Diddy party, there could only be two reasons. Money. That's all that happens at Diddy parties. Money and... I hope it was for money.
Charitable contribution.
I hope it was for money, because arguing about who's going to put the strap on is... That can be a very uncomfortable situation. You know, we're going to pray on it, praise the Lord. You know?
The recurring question raised in 50 Cent's documentary is not only moral, but structural. Why does spiritual authority appear inside spaces defined by celebrity power? These environments operate as influence hubs, rewarding access with relevance. When faith and entertainment intersect between figures like TD Jakes and Diddy, both sides gain legitimacy and both risk delusion. Proximity becomes currency. Silence becomes its maintenance cost. If influence depends on staying close, who is truly protected when nothing is said?
Look, everything that I know tells me that he will get between 1 and 2 years, and I think it's going to be closer to 1. Prosecution is asking for 4. That's just not going to happen for a Mann Act violation. So if that's right, look, he wants to get the lowest he can get, and I think it's going to be between that 1 and 2 range. To get the 1, I think he's got to show the judge that he is taking his misdeed seriously.
Right. And by the way, we know that even when the judge said that he was not going to let him out on bail pending sentencing, one of the things he mentioned was his violence. You know, we've seen his violence. So he knows that this is an issue for the judge.
And the defense conceded it.
Right. So that's something he definitely has to address. And that's what he's doing with this program.
You know, Charles, he doesn't have to address it, but he is addressing it. And, you know, this might help him with regards to his sentence. Maybe the judge might sentence him to lesser time because he's working on himself.
But Jamie, you know what the complication here is that he's been found not guilty on the charges that relate to drug use and domestic violence. That there was no conviction using force, fraud, or coercion in these 3 ways, and drugs. The Cassie video was off the table. The only thing he's been convicted of is taking a prostitute across state lines for the purpose of prostitution.
But can't the judge consider all of the testimony in the that was presented at the trial?
But the defense is going to say he was found not guilty on those things. So it's really kind of an interesting...
There's that, but there's another side of this. And Jamie, you've been working on this story for 5 days now to lock this down. But what was there was one key word, one of the sources you spoke to. You remember what that word was?
Yeah, redemption.
Yeah, because that's the other part of this, that this is Diddy looking at my life after prison, because now that he knows he's not going to be locked away for decades, not going to be locked away for the rest of his life,
he could get out this year.
A lawyer withdraws, a firm steps back. In 50 Cent's documentary, these moments are framed as professional necessity, but culturally they read as forecasts. High-stakes cases involving Diddy trigger quiet recalculations. Alliances thin. Exposure is assessed. Distance becomes strategy. These exits aren't confessions, they're risk signals. When power networks reorganize only after danger becomes visible, how long was that danger considered acceptable beforehand?
I don't know why they acting like they was in there looking for anything other than physical tape, because there was so many DNA samples in that house. They could have probably created a whole new race.
Let me ask you, when it comes to the hotels, he said that, or in the indictment, they said that there was people that were hired to clean up after the freak-off. So this is not even the people that's hired by the hotel. These are special people.
No, they had to bring in outside clean. No, this is industrial level foolishness. What are you talking about?
It's Breaking Bad level.
Imagine what happened. Now, you heard the video, you heard the footage with him and the meek. Now, we also know that TD Jakes is allegedly also a power bottom. And he's a much older man. And they say he's very enthusiastic in his endeavors. What happens when he pops something loose? You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because they're mentioning sex, but they're not mentioning women. They're mentioning men as workers.
Yeah.
Like is that a thing where like there's a website? I mean, what? It's just wild to hear like you mentioned the
You
normal.
never heard of Grindr?
I personally have not. That is one.
Why don't nobody ever talk about the fact that TD Jakes has an account allegedly on Grindr?
Oh wow.
Grindr it's been around for about 15 years now. It's pretty much where you can put a GPS in an asshole. So you go onto the app and it uses the location. And it routes you to the account of the man closest to you, and then y'all DM, and you decide if you're going to do it at the 7-Eleven or do it at the gay club in the bathroom. It's a hookup site for promiscuous gay men.
Wow.
The Grindr.
Jeez.
Why would a bishop have a ghost account?
Yeah, let me ask you, also in the 14-page indictment.
Brandon.
Oh, not clips. Not clips.
Brandon. Oh, baby.
Not malice. Not malice. Oh.
She loved the way I did bop. That's what Cameron said.
Yeah, we're about to go through all the lyrics again. There was an interview I was watching with, or a video I was watching with Jay-Z and Diddy from back in, I guess early 2000s. We're gonna go back and watch through all of this because
I think you need to, because everything was done in your face.
Yeah.
They played in all of our faces. All of this stuff was done right in everyone's face. So I want you to imagine.
The idea of recordings operates as power even before proof emerges. In 50 Cent's documentary, surveillance doesn't need confirmation to influence behavior. Its possibility alone can enforce silence. Fear becomes governance, shaping loyalty, hesitation, and denial among those orbiting celebrity. And spiritual authority. Whether real or exaggerated, the threat of exposure explains why influential figures connected to Diddy wait before speaking. If intimidation can suppress truth without ever entering court, how much reality remains permanently undocumented?
Footage of Sean Diddy Combs in the days leading up to his arrest in New York last September.
You want to put stuff in my fanny pack case?
The exclusive video obtained by Netflix shows Combs debating with his lawyers about strategy.
Listen to me. I'm going to get off the phone right now, and I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution. No matter what, no matter what nobody said. Let's just, here and there, y'all are not working together the right way. We're losing.
The footage is part of a new, highly anticipated docuseries by director Alex Stapleton and rapper and executive producer Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, titled Sean Combs, The Reckoning. Was there anything that surprised you when you were watching it?
I think it was surprising that he actually filmed it.
It was very interesting to watch a man who's known for his brand presence. You know, he has a really amazing knack for marketing and all of that, and how he was sort of taking that into account in how he was coming off to the public.
The exclusive video also shows Combs in Harlem greeting fans.
Off my back, bro. Lord, you win. I'm gonna win. Lord, you win. Be with it. I'll accept it. I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I got it. I've been out in the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I gotta take a bath. Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with, like that's what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like 150 hugs.
You're a public person as well, and there was one instance in Harlem And his reaction when those people
Went away.
I
said, I feel like I need to wash, like I'm dirt. That was, it shows you his character.
Is that was that the reason for including it?
Yeah. I mean, and what's the odds that you would do that? I felt like a cow. Like that's one of the moments where you forgot he was on tape.
How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
What they consider a pre-existing beef, right, for 20 years, right, is me being uncomfortable with him suggesting that he takes me shopping, or I looked at it like it was like a tester, like maybe you'll come play with me, type of thing, right? And it's not personal.
I think it's important to also let people know that the show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. We weren't trying to just get the highlights, the salacious details. You know, that the real goal was to storytell. And not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part of this project.
The 4-part series also features 2 jurors from Combs' trial who are speaking for the first time about how they reached their mixed verdict.
50 Cent's documentary closes without resolution by design. The line between evidence and speculation remains contested, and audiences are left to sit with discomfort as legal timelines unfold slowly. Institutions overlap. Church, celebrity, media, law, and responsibility diffuses across them all. From TD Jakes to Diddy and beyond, everyone claims to be waiting for the full story. Yet waiting itself becomes a form of protection. If accountability is endlessly deferred, who ultimately benefits from patience?